Hey, it's your pal Mike Shea from Flourish. I was very lucky to receive a review copy of the legendary edition of Curse of Strahd from Beadle and Grimm's. If you're not familiar with Beadle and Grimm products, they take one of the D&D published adventures and they build a whole kit around it that includes all kinds of interesting accessories like dedicated battle maps, handouts, props, other accessories, custom DM screens, everything you could want in an entire kit to go around an adventure. I've had an opportunity to look at Beadle and Grimm products before. I picked up the Ghosts of Saltmarsh Silver Edition, which had the whole adventure and a bunch of battle maps and a lot of interesting handouts and accessories and props and other things that I was able to use in my game. It was a really neat product. Beadle and Grimm box sets are definitely luxury D&D products. One of the interesting things about Dungeons & Dragons is that the price tag to play can go anywhere from about $0, if you have an internet connection, you can basically get everything you need, to pretty much as you want to spend on the game. You could have an entire dedicated game room full of all of the accessories and miniatures you need in a mansion in Hollywood, or go play D&D in a castle in France. So the price tag can go anywhere from $0 to basically as much as you want to spend. Now, the folks at Beadle and Grimm's have decided that they have a particular area that they wanted to aim for, which is people who are willing to spend a fair bit of money to dedicate around an adventure. And if you think about how long it takes to actually run one of these adventures and how many hours of entertainment you're getting, the price tag, which is definitely high, is definitely more reasonable when you think about the fact that you're going to be running this over 30, 40, 50 sessions with 6 people sitting at your table. This video is brought to you by the patrons of Flourish. If you want to become a patron of Flourish and help support shows like this and the other work that I do, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Flourish and signing up and helping to support all of the work that I do. All right, so let's dig in. It is a big, hefty box. Weighs a lot. One of the things about Beadle and Grimm boxes, they definitely, per pound, they're pretty good. They're pretty good value. So we're gonna open this up. Hopefully not damage anything. And see what is inside. So right off the bat, let's see. Let's cut down here. It is, all of this stuff is inside a nice segmented box. So they've really split everything up into a bunch of different pieces, which is cool. This is a great big, we're gonna dig open to this. This is probably what I'm most excited about. So I did a little bit of reading. I haven't actually watched any of the other unboxing videos, but I did a little bit of reading about what's inside. And one of the things that I was most interested in is the fact that they have all of Castle Ravenloft in a 5 foot per square battle maps. They have battle maps of the entire castle. And if you think about how big Castle Ravenloft is, it's really quite extensive. One thing I didn't mention, Curse of Strahd is my favorite D&D adventure. Before then, I6 Ravenloft was my favorite adventure. So I am really excited to see this one. Unlike a lot of adventures where I'll run them once or twice, I run parts of Castle Ravenloft. I run basically the castle portion of Curse of Strahd. I run it every Halloween. It's one of my favorite adventures to run. I've run it more than a dozen times. So one of the cool things about this Legendary Edition is that I can use this basically every year for Halloween. I can use the accessories, I can use the maps, I can use all this stuff. So Ravenloft is probably the most reusable adventure. Curse of Strahd overall is one of the most reusable adventures that you can run. So it seems like getting a big box set for this adventure is a really good deal. So now let's go back to the other stuff. So we have a whole package of Blinksy toys. Is no fun, is no Blinksy. So we're gonna dig into these, of course, if they don't dig into us. And then we have the bulk. Oh, I'm gonna strain my back. We have the bulk of the box set itself. I can barely hold it in one hand. All right. So it's all bubble wrapped. That's nice. And ooh, that looks really good. That is a big, wow, it barely closes. You can tell that they packed it with so much stuff that the lid doesn't even fully come down on it. But that is a beautiful black box, really cool embossed Ravenloft symbol on the front, branded by Beadle and Grimm, Legendary Edition. Really cool looking box. So it looks like the whole box comes with 3 major components. Get rid of that packing material. You get the big tube full of maps. You get the package of Blinksy toys, and you get the box itself. So let's start with, I guess I am most interested in looking at the maps. So let's start by looking at the maps. So it's a great big poster tube. Oh my God, that's a lot of maps. There's a lot going on in here. They also have some of the rolled out handouts in here. They are wrapped in twine. See, this is the kind of stuff you get in a Beadle and Grimm package. Handouts that are already wrapped up in twine. I'm gonna open up one of these and take a look at it. So this is the deed of property for the Durst family. So this is for Death House, right? When you get Death House, which is the first adventure, it's a level 1 to 2 pretty lethal adventure that is inside Curse of Strahd. You can actually get the lease to the property. If you want it, you might want to flip that. You might want to flip that house because I don't know that it's the kind of thing you want to be hanging out to. So we're going to slide that right back into the twine, and then we have the maps themselves. Okay, these, man, so much. Oh wow! So I was expecting to mostly just have the castle, but it looks like they've got the maps. So there is Death House, for example. They have the church area. They are all double-sided. They are not laminated. But they're real thick paper, real thick, good solid quality paper. The Wizard and Wines area. Here's a really nice, it almost feels like a leather. I don't want to hurt the maps. They have like a nice leather, almost like a simulated leather version of all of Barovia. Really neat. One thing that I've done for my games is you can kind of see it under here. I have a great big acrylic sheet that sits on my table, and I can put any kind of map I want underneath the acrylic sheet, and it flattens it completely, and it feels really good with miniatures. When you put miniatures on an acrylic sheet, they feel nice. The whole thing feels nice. So if you're using maps like these, or happen to be using these maps, it's probably worth investing in a big acrylic sheet. So we've got a lot of smaller maps. These are all the ones that are of Ravenloft itself. Different smaller chambers in Ravenloft. We're going to set those aside. So maps of a lot of different sizes. And then the great big poster maps. So here's like the courtyard. Wow, they did the whole courtyard. The whole courtyard of it. Let's just let these roll up. More of the courtyard. Yeah. So every one of these. I'll take some pictures. And I'll post the pictures in here. These maps just look crazy good. And there's a lot of them. So you'll want to probably figure out how to organize all your maps so that you can pull out the right ones when you need it. All right, so let's open up the big box. Again, beautiful embossed cover. So a nice, beautiful, the first page, first thing you open up is the Beadle and Grimm Legendary Edition. If I recall, this is something that they do with all of theirs. They sort of give you a nice introduction to everything that you have here, which is really handy. And a really kind of fun introduction to everything you get here. So we will set that aside. So then, what do we have here? A big folder of stuff. Oh my God, look at all this stuff. Holy cow. So the folder, okay. So it's got Castle Ravenloft, a Master's Guide. Interesting. So this has, excellent. This is a key to all of the maps that are in that packet. So we have one whole sheet that shows you which map covers which part of the castle in a top view. So this is very handy to show you exactly which maps cover which parts, and you can organize them and pull out the right one that you need at any given time. Really handy key. You definitely want to keep that. So this is what they were talking about. So there's location maps. These are heavy cardstock. Really nice. This whole thing is crazy good. Heavy cardstock of maps of overland locations. So places where you might not necessarily be running it as like a battle. The Abbey, Salonka Pass. So all of the maps have their own separate sheet. You can kind of set them out. They are not numbered, so you can set these out and show them to your players, and they can talk about where they're going. Beautiful artwork. Again, really well printed, heavy cardstock. As good as anything you would want when you're printing out hand copies of locations. So that is really cool. So then, I was curious about this. These are oversized tarot card sized versions of the Tarokka deck. So this is for the Fortunes of Ravenloft. This is actually one of the coolest things about Ravenloft. It's not something you see often in other adventures, which is kind of surprising. It's a random way of determining where the main MacGuffins are for the whole adventure. And you do it as though you have somebody telling the fortune of the characters. So while they're getting their fortune told, you are figuring out actually how they're going to run through the adventure. What else? So that's really cool. Man, there's a lot of stuff in this box in there. So these are the encounter cards. They're cards that show individual monsters. And there's a great big stack of these. So what you have here is like a Phantom Warrior. And on one side, you have the artwork for the Phantom Warrior. And on the other side, you have the full stat block, including what it looks like a description of the monster on the other side. And the idea is, when you're playing, when I pull out the DM screen, will show it. But basically, the idea is when you have them fighting a particular monster, you can pull out that particular card and drape it over the top of your DM screen. And it shows a full, nice picture of the monster to the players, so they know exactly what you're playing. So even if you're playing in Theater of the Mind, you can still show a picture of the monster, which is really cool. So it includes 61 encounter cards in here. I don't know if it's every single one. Everything from Madame Eva, in case somebody throws down with Madame Eva. They have different artwork, so that's kind of interesting. So they have like Strahd's people, right? Strahd's vampire spawn that are hanging out with him. They're looking all royal and regal and stuff. And then they have sort of your wild vampire spawn. But the interesting thing, so it's the three brides. So these are actually encounter-based more than they are monster-based. They're both vampire spawns on the other side. The descriptions are slightly different, and the artwork is definitely different. So they're built for those encounters. It means like if you're going to run it, you definitely want to set them aside so that you know which set you're going to run. So really interesting. Apparently 61 encounter cards that you can drape over your screen. So then we get into some of the accessories, some of the props that you might use during your game. And this is really where like a Beadle and Grimm set, I mean, all this stuff is fantastic, right? But as soon as you get into the stuff that's not paper and you look at the quality of the stuff that they're making, now you're seeing like where the cost for this thing went. What do we got? We've got 3 coins, and these are coins of Strahd. So these show Strahd von Zarovich pre-vampire on one side and the Ravenloft symbol. These are beautiful coins. These are really, really nice. Really cool coins, man. You'd probably want to make these like a really fun and interesting and powerful handout for your cards, or for your game, props that are handed out to players and like blood coins or old coins that are that hold some kind of power in it, right? I'm a big fan of like single-use magic items. The idea of a relic that you have that can fire off a spell one time, a powerful spell. So like maybe they get this and on it is Dominate Monster. They can only use it one time, but one time they can cast Dominate Monster with like a DC of 15. And when they do, Strahd's eye glows red as though there's a touch of his vampiric nature in the coin. And you can kind of hold the coin aloft and use it to cast Dominate Monster. So that's what I would use it for. Make it really meaningful and hand it out to the players. Oh, holy cow. Two-sided, the amulet. Beautiful. Big gold chain. Yeah, really nice. Cat's definitely interested in that. Are you interested in that, kitty? So again, like props that you were able to hand out to players that they can physically touch, when they acquire it, they can hold it. I mean, this thing's like the medallion from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's two-sided. It's got a cool gemstone in it, gold chain. Really, 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 really neat stuff. So then we have, along with the encounter cards, we have other foldouts of artwork from the book. So this is like an 8.5 by 11 page, and it shows which location and which chapter it came from on the back. So you can organize these by chapter and see like, particular scenes that are going to occur. Again, the idea is you would drape these over the top of your DM screen. So right off the bat, you've got like the big gates that lead into Barovia. So it's all artwork that's in the book, only you can really show it. The Sun Sword, Strahd at his organ, all kinds of really cool stuff. So lots and lots of art. Yeah, beautiful artwork. Items, locations, a whole bunch of locations inside the castle itself. So it's really, you can create this real sensory game, right? Where they can touch things, they can see things, they can hear things, you're talking about it. So the whole idea behind a set like this is it has everything to build like a really immersive experience, the physical cards. So you're not just talking about the Tarokka deck. You're actually having players draw cards from an oversized deck. That stuff's just really cool. So we have a bunch of letters, a bunch of envelopes, right? And they can be addressed to your characters. That's really cool. And there's wax seals. They're sticky. They're 3Ms, but they look like wax seals. They have the raven symbol, Strahd von Zarovich's house symbol, on them. So you can pull off the 3M and stick it right on the envelope and seal it like it was sealed with wax. And then you have, it looks like some blank letters. Yeah, 5 pieces of stationery. So you can like hand write your personalized notes. Hey, good job killing that vampire spawn in that old pit. But why don't you come and have dinner with me and we'll talk more about your time here. So then, these sort of hand crumpled pieces of paper that again, they look and they feel, they feel like the kind of thing your character would feel. And that's really helps with that whole immersion. Pages of Strahd's journal. I am the ancient, I am the land, right? So the characters can discover this stuff. So then we have the Wizard of Wines. These are the labels that you can put on. So you have Red Dragon Crush, Champagne de la Stomp, and Purple Grape Mash number 3, right? And these are labels that you can actually put on a bottle of actual wine. Really kind of neat. More notes from Strahd von Zarovich. Know that it is I who brought you to this land, my home, and know that I alone can release you from it. I bid you dine at my castle so that we can meet in civilized surroundings. Your passage here will be a safe one. I await your arrival, Strahd von Zarovich. Note from the Burgomaster. So you have the 2 notes from the Burgomaster. One that is written in Strahd's hand. This I always thought was a neat trick. Make sure that Strahd's notes and the original note that he forged from the Burgomeister are used the same handwriting, and then a different handwriting for his actual note, the crumpled one that is in the hands of a servant who you find dead after you've already gone into the trap. Always a fun way. More handouts, just really, really nice. It looks like more from Strahd's journals. So all of the handouts that you need, you have in here. Strahd's invitation, here's how to, during the adventure, so it's got like handouts on when to use the invitations, and then it's got a whole section here on running the dinner with Strahd, which is really cool. How to run the meal, how to diffuse tension, entertainment, toasting, ending the meal, the conversations. That was probably that scene, and I'm glad that they put a guide out for it. The scene where the characters have dinner with Strahd was my favorite scene running Curse of Strahd in both games that I ran. It's really, really fun opportunity, and so it's neat that they gave you a handout. Then they include a bunch of pre-generated characters. So if you just want to sort of jump in and go, they are level 1. But if you want to jump in and go, you have characters who already have sort of a cool background that will fit well with Ravenloft. But if you're running a big campaign, you probably want to make characters. You probably want to do a session 0 and do all that work. So then we have bonus encounters. So a bunch of extra encounters that you would not get in Curse of Strahd itself, the kind of thing to fill out. So those are bonus adventures, handouts, the map from the adventure, the envelopes, and the seals and personalized notes, all from Strahd and all that. So lots of accessories there. So then we have a cardstock poster of the Festival of the Blazing Sun. This is taking place in Veliki, I think, where they're all kind of going a little haywire, trying to just make everything happy all the time. Hey, we're all happy all the time. Forget about the fact that everyone's getting eaten and killed. So here is the bulk of the adventure. They break it out into separate books. And for Ravenloft, that's going to be very handy because when I run my one-shot games, I only need the Castle Ravenloft part. I don't need the rest of the adventure. You want to be careful with your blade. Always cut towards the neck whenever you're trying to open anything up. So, Chapter 1, Into the Mist, the Lands of Barovia, and the Village of Barovia, all in one book. Nice, so this has a good solid cover to it. It is not just simple paper, and it's really good printing. Like the page quality is really, really high quality pages. Thicker pages, I think, probably about the same as what's in the hardcover book. Then you have one book that's just Castle Ravenloft. It's the one that I would be using when I'm running my Halloween D&D game. Then we have Town of Veliki, Old Bone Grinder, Argynvost Holt, Village of Kresk, Solanka Pass. That's where the Solanka Pass is where the rock gets you. So these are all the other encounters in one book. Then the next book is Ruins of Berez, Von Richten's Tower, Wizard of Wines, Amber Temple, Yester Hill, and the Werewolf Den. So all of the other locations that you have in there. Really awesome looking stuff. And then we have the appendix, Creatures of Horror, the Tarokka deck. And yes, and it does include, so this is the chapter that includes Death House. So Death House is it's in the appendix of the book, and it's also in here. It's a fantastic adventure. You can actually download Death House for free. It's available online, and a really fun dungeon run. The one thing I would do is level the characters up to 2nd level pretty quickly, because they will get killed. You might even start them at 2nd level instead of 1st level when they go into this one. You'll have a much easier time if they're already 2nd level. So those are the 5 books that make up all of Curse of Strahd, and really nice. Then we have the Beadle and Grimm custom DM screen. So this has their artwork on it, unique artwork on it, you can see. And inside we have random encounters in Barovia, random nighttime encounters in Barovia, areas by level to give you like when should they be hitting what levels, key references for particular keys that you have there, the whole Valley of Barovia map with all of the places labeled. Travel times are included, so travel times indicator are for traveling on foot at normal pace over simple terrain. So really interesting to have all the travel times already wired in. It's the first time I've ever seen that map before. Important Barovians, so you have a bunch of NPCs and lists of little bits of information about them and which stat block they should use. So really cool, and that accounts for 2 panels on here. So you have NPCs, places in Barovia, Barovian names. So if you need some random names, that's handy. You always want some random names, and then some random encounters for the area. So really, really good for really good for handling that. And so the idea, and then I mentioned before about encounters. So if they come to the rock encounter, you throw the rock encounter over it. One little trick that I did when I was running this for when I was running the Saltmarsh, the Ghost of Saltmarsh version, is I had a little book light that I put on the inside, so it illuminated the inside of my own tray, because my light's on the outside here is hard to see. So one little trick, it's like $12, and you can get a little clip-on book light that you could clip onto your DM screen, and it shines inside, and it makes everything inside the screen really easy to see and read. And I think we have come to the bottom of the box, and at the bottom of the box we have oh wow, so this is, I remember I noticed that there was no Strahd von Zarovich encounter card, and that is because there is a huge Strahd von Zarovich encounter card. So when they fight Strahd, you pull out your DM screen like this, and you drape over, and you go, you are fighting Strahd. And on the inside here are all of his stats. So you definitely need a light to read these. It's a little hard to read. But all of his information is on here. So it is all set. Really, really cool. When you're ready to fight Strahd, you pull out that card and you've got everything you need. Really, really cool. Yes, greater invisibility. If you want Strahd to kick some ass, greater invisibility is the way to do it. Prevents counter spells, gets rid of any disadvantage that he has because of stupid light swords. Lots of other things. Really, really cool. So that's the final card. I hadn't yet opened up the Blinksy toys. So let's open up the last part. We're going to open up the Blinksy toys. Always cut towards the throat. Oh man, my cats are going to go nuts. Oh. So these are Blinksy finger puppets. As soon as you hand out these to your players, I guarantee you their attention is definitely going to be on the game. They're going to be serious about what's going on. There won't be any shenanigans or tomfoolery as long as they have one of these on their fingers. Really cool. It looks like it comes with about 5 of the finger puppets. Luckily for you, there is no way that any of your animals or anything like that are going to be interested in these things. So here we have it. This is everything inside the Legendary Edition of Curse of Strahd by Beadle and Grimm Games. To review, we've got Blinksy toys, we've got Ravenloft coins, Strahd's coins, we've got the holy symbol of the holy symbol, we've got an oversized Tarokka deck, we've got these are deeds to the Durst House, to the Death House, because who doesn't want to own a Death House? We've got artwork that you can put over your screen to show your players what's going on in any given scene, all from the book. We've got 60 encounter cards of monster stat blocks on one side and monster artwork on the other that you can drape over. We've got the entire adventure separated out in 5 different books, so you can just pick whichever book you're using. We have the Oversized Strahd stat block card that goes with the encounter cards. We've got the Festival of the Blazing Sun poster that they can find on a wall. Again, another wonderful handout. We have all of the small format Mike Schley maps you can show to your players that you can put out in front of them and they can see where they are. We have all the handouts, which include Strahd's invitations. I'm going to get these all disorganized. We have Strahd's invitations. We have the will of the Durst family. We have all of the letters that Strahd sends. He's a big pen pal. He loves to write letters. You have the stickers, the wine stickers for your bottles of wine. You have the original Barovia and Castle Ravenloft map. More handouts. 4 bonus encounters. Pre-gen characters, in case you want to pre-generate your characters. You have the map key that shows you which maps are for which locations. You have the DM screen, the custom DM screen that's in there. And a boatload of maps. Tons and tons and tons of maps. Wow, what a package, right? Like, this is huge. Like, all of the stuff it comes with is just amazing. So what are my final thoughts? My final thoughts are, like, I kind of want to run Curse of Strahd again. I really wish I'd had all this stuff. One thing about Curse of Strahd, more so than other adventures, is you can run it very close to as is, which means you can actually use pretty much everything that's in here at some point during the adventure. It is a really amazing pack. One other thing I need to mention is that the Curse of Strahd Legendary Edition is limited. There are only so many of them. It is possible, if you're watching this video later, that they've already sold out. And if they have, hopefully this at least gives you an idea of the kinds of things that Beadle and Grimm put into any given package. So when they're putting out new box sets, you can take a look at them and say, are those the kinds of things you want? Boy, if you want everything to do with an adventure, it is hard to look at this and feel like anything from it is missing. It is a really tremendous package. So I want to thank Beadle and Grimm for giving me a review copy to take a look at. I really appreciate it. It was really fun to go through. Again, my favorite adventure. If there's any adventure I would want a set like this for, it's definitely Curse of Strahd. I'm very excited for it. And next year, in October, I will be pulling this thing out and using it when I run my home Castle Ravenloft game. So I hope this video was fun. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the fine work here. And I want to thank you for watching, and get out there and play some D&D.